This word means life. This round portion represents the womb of the woman.
All right, black people, let me talk to y'all real quick. This is not from a place of hate. It's from a place of let's actually think. Ancient Egypt, better known as Kemet, or however y'all feel it, Northeast Africa. That's who birthed the Ankh.
We're about to take a look at what this Ankh means. I'm correct. It comes from West African culture. Y'all leave in the comments and correct me on that if I'm wrong.
We descend from West and Central Sub-Saharan African peoples, not Egyptians. We come from the Yoruba, the Igbo, the Khan, the Wolof, the Mande. I can keep on naming row, but ain't no Ankh in them cultures. We got Orishas talking drums. We got the Ensibity. We got the Adinkra symbols, cowrie shells. Like, listen, here in America, where the transatlantic slave trade dropped us off, stripped us, confused us, renamed us, that's the reason why all this shit happened. In the aftermath of all this spiritual robbery, we started spiritually squatting and grabbing for anything that we felt like is powerful or black. In Egypt, with its gold, its pyramids, the godheads, the animals, the eyeliners on fleek, and that became the aesthetic. Ain't no one rushing to be from a coast that ain't got no Hollywood representation. And I really think a lot of this stems from the Ten Commandments and the greatest story ever told movies from the 50s and 60s. Because that's when a lot of this shit arrives. That's when the black power movement start rising up and people start ditching their slave names for names like Shabazz, Hotep, Seku, Sutek, Amon-Ra, Amus, Young Pharaoh, Khalid, Mayat, Sarnetta. And look, I get it. It's a rebellion. It's an identity reclamation in a world that tried to erase your whole being. Right, but you need something older than slavery to feel royal. I don't get why y'all need that when we exist right now. So because y'all didn't do y'all homework and y'all conflated Africa with Egyptian like the whole continent is just like one neighborhood. So the cultural erasure of Eurocentrism, Europeans, they spent centuries telling us that we came from nothing but huts and spears, that our gods were savages, our languages is like grunts and clicks. Our past is irrelevant. So Egypt, being a part of Africa that guess who Europeans loved, that's what got elevated, and that made us conflated with us. Romanticized the pyramids, they decoded the hieroglyphs. When they start building the museums for the mummies, and acting like Sub-Saharan Africa was just a jungle noise, that's going to subconsciously allow you to swallow that bias too. It started chasing Egyptian clout to feel validated, and like that's something worth more than your own ancestral roots. So that's why I be checking Afrocentrism. That's why I'm like one of the only people who will check Cheek Anta Diop. So don't get it twisted. I understand how Afrocentrism was needed and like how it was a medicine for your whitewashed minds. But you got to think about it being a medicine. Too much of it is going to turn toxic. So when you start saying you built the pyramids, now we're the pharaohs. So when we built the pyramids, we might as well build a man. So now we're the Olmecs. Now when Jesus was black and Buddha was fake, as a matter of fact, we was everywhere. So that's not pride no more. That's cultural inflation. And then you ain't got no receipts on top of that. So now these ankhs everywhere, from Crenshaw to TikTok, from these conscious rappers to these holistic aunties to sell sage. Look, you don't have to try to borrow glory from another lineage just because ours were stolen. We can reclaim our actual roots. You do know. West African cultures that make up Black Americans' heritage. We got our own cosmologies. We got our own sciences, metaphysics, architecture, divine systems, art, fashion, governance, ancestral depth that'll really knock your socks off if you go looking for it. And if you're able to even perceive it without your colonial cultural biases. So yeah, we've been robbed, that's facts, but that don't mean we could turn around and become a spiritual usurper of another people's civilization just because it looks cooler or it's getting more clout. We need to rebuild on our own stolen home, right? Don't move into anyone else's palace and try to hang up our baby pictures in the process, and use like true knowledge as empowerment.
This word means life. This round portion represents the womb.
Aten, Karon, Aten, Ra, Aten.
This divine sign.
In the street, they call it murder.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.